Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And this is one of the few and rare occasions where this video is a horrific crime and murder that took place out of Hertfordshire, UK, in the United Kingdom, where allegedly a young man, 26 years old, Kyle Clifford, ended up killing his ex-girlfriend, her mother, and her other sister. And this is the caveat, with a crossbow. He tied them up at their home and he shot them with a crossbow, the mother and two daughters. So let's go into this one. Hertfordshire, United Kingdom, crossbow killing suspect yet to speak with police. A man suspected of killing 3 women in a crossbow attack remains in a hospital with serious injuries and is yet to speak with police. Carol Hunt, 61, Hannah Hunt, 28, and Louise Hunt, 25, died at their home in Bushey, Hertfordshire, on Tuesday evening. Hertfordshire police have recovered a crossbow, but have not been able to question suspect Kyle Clifford, 26, after he was found injured at a cemetery on Wednesday. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer announced the government would look at the legislation around crossbows following this awful incident. The victims were the wife and 2 daughters of BBC racing commentator and well-known John Hunt, and Mr. Clifford is the ex-boyfriend of Louise Hunt. So the victim's dad and husband is well-known BBC racing commentator John Hunt, and the other caveat to this is Mr. Clifford, the alleged suspect, is the ex-boyfriend of one of the daughters, Louise Hunt. They were tied up and shot each with a crossbow at their homes. Emotional tributes have been paid to the family, and a church vigil was held in Bushey on Thursday. Hertfordshire police said in a statement that Mr. Clifford was still receiving medical treatment in a London hospital. At this stage, he is currently in serious condition and is yet to speak with officers. And right now, they don't know how he ended up in a cemetery and how he ended up with serious injuries. Were they self-inflicted or did something else take place? That's still under investigation. A crossbow has been recovered as part of the investigation. Police previously confirmed no shots were fired by officers as they captured Mr. Clifford at Lavender Hill Cemetery in Enfield. The force said there were no reports of prior police contact between Hertfordshire Constabulary Kyle Clifford and the victims. So Deputy Superintendent Rob Hall from the Bedfordshire, Cambridgeshire, and Hertfordshire Major Crime Unit said, "Our thoughts remain with the victim's family and loved ones at this devastating and indescribable time. They are being supported by specially trained officers. This was an unprecedented attack, and we are determined to understand the full circumstances of what happened that evening and the events leading up to it. We are wholly committed to seeking justice for the victims and their family. This investigation, as I'm sure people can imagine, will take time. I'd like to reiterate my sincere thanks to the members of the public who contacted us yesterday and helped with our inquiries." Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer commented on the case on Thursday evening. He said, "First, let me say how awful this was, and our condolences and thoughts are with all of the family and those affected. In relation to crossbows, The Home Secretary has announced she will look at the legislation and make a determination. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper will look at the findings of a Home Office review into Crossbows carried out earlier this year. A Home Office spokeswoman said the Home Secretary will swiftly consider the findings to see if laws need to be tightened even further on crossbow legislation. Tributes to the family have flooded in from friends, fellow broadcasters, and from members of the sporting world. In Bushy, more than 50 people attended a vigil at St. James Church to pay their respects. Sally Golding, who knew Hannah Hunt as her beautician, said, "I felt a need to come today. Hannah was just a really, really lovely, bubbly person with a great personality. She was a sweet girl, a very happy little soul." Leah Holloway, a long-standing friend of Carol Hunt, who was the mother, was in tears as she left the church. She said, "I'll miss Carol like crazy. There were 4 of us who were very close friends, and we were pregnant all at the same time. I can't believe this happened. It's the thing nightmares are made of. I feel for their oldest daughter and John. Those are the survivors. John is the husband, and then there's an older daughter who wasn't there. I can't imagine what it must feel like," she said. Bouquets of flowers have been mounting at the family home in Ashland Close as friends and neighbors of the Hunt family left messages of condolences. I wish none of this were real," one reads. "Rest in peace, Carol, Hannah, and Louise," one of the cards reads, and another, "This is heartbreaking." Louisa, 36, says she had been a client of Louise's dog grooming business, Groom and Glow, for 3 years. She added, "I hope they are remembered as wonderful, hardworking, kind women rather than victims." Hannah Hunt's colleagues at the anti-aging clinic in Ratlet have expressed their deep regret and sadness over her death. They said on social media that she was a fantastic therapist and clients loved her. The post continued, "We send our condolences and prayers to her dad, sister, and family." Tributes to the Hunt family and expressions of support from sports personalities and broadcasters have also been appearing on social media. After Wednesday's England victory in Euro 24, the former England footballer Michael Owen posted on social media, "And while the country celebrates, spare a thought for John Hunt. I can't remember feeling so utterly horrified in years." The football commentator Jackway Oatley said, "I can't and I didn't want to tweet about football yesterday due to the utter horror of hearing about John Hunt's family. What a truly lovely, wonderful man he is. He has had so much support, he'll need it." A minute's silence was held at New Market Racecourse in Suffolk on Thursday afternoon in memory of the victims. As you remember, John Hunt is the BBC broadcaster for these racing events. In a statement, the British Horse Racing Authority said, "The thoughts of everyone at the BHA are with John Hunt, his family, and friends at this shocking and tragic time. It is impossible to comprehend the horror that has been inflicted upon them by this dreadful event." Jockeys at Kempton Park Racecourse wore black armbands to show support on Wednesday. The Sky commentator Mike Cattermole said it was hard to comprehend and process the shock and disgust of what happened to John Hunt and his family. John lived for his girls. They were the world to him. And so in this particular case, it seems like this was a crime of passion. And what has been ascertained is that the way the wife and the 2 daughters was found was that John Hunt, when he got off work, he found his wife and his 2 daughters at his house around 7 p.m., severely wounded and murdered, all three of them, each shot with a crossbow. And, as I stated earlier, what is the relationship with Kyle Clifford and the family? Well, supposedly he dated one of the daughters, Louise Hunt, in the past. So was this premeditated? Is this a crime of passion? How did he get in the house? Evidently, the family presumably knew Kyle, and it sounds as if he had planned this. If this storyline is correct, and then he decided to tie all three of them up and shoot each one of them individually with a crossbow. Luckily, John was not there, or maybe if he would have been there, he could have subdued Kyle Clifford if he tried to make that attempt on killing his family, where there is a man versus another young man in an altercation, or unfortunately, John could have gotten killed also. But the other fortunate circumstance is that the eldest daughter of John Hunt, she was not at the home, and so the two remaining survivors are the father, John Hunt, the BBC broadcaster, and then his eldest daughter. The other part to this story that is very interesting is that the UK has a Crossbow Act of 1987, which means that if you are caught with a crossbow, then you can be arrested and go to prison. So there has been several incidences throughout the years, decades, that there have been crossbow attacks, and this is why. Firearms are not easily accessible in the UK like they are easily accessible in the United States. As you can ascertain, and if you follow me in some of my videos, I've talked about how the United States has more guns on the streets than any other country in the world. The United States of America leads in two categories. We have more incarcerated individuals in prison, and we have more guns and gun violence on the streets of our country than any other country in the world. So this is a very sad commentary. I think this is a very strange and crazy story for this young man to be 26 years old, to have his entire life in front of him, and he decides to allegedly enter the Hunt's home, tie up the mother and two of the daughters, and then allegedly kills them with a crossbow. And part of that, part of ascertaining this and why he used a crossbow is because of what I just stated earlier, that supposedly it is very hard to have a firearm in the UK based on their laws. So this gentleman decided to use a crossbow and kill a mother and two daughters, and he knew the family and dated one of the daughters. Thank God they found the suspect, because in many of these cases, the first person that they go after is the husband and or father. And luckily, John Hunt, who found his family unfortunately in that condition, was never a suspect, and the suspect ended up being Kyle Clifford, who they found at a cemetery with serious wounds, and there are an innumerable amount of questions on why this took place. Bad things happen in America, and I'm giving you an example of bad things that happen in other places throughout our world. The kind of energy you bring into your home and into your space can make all the difference in the world. We need to manifest our truth in a positive direction that is righteous and God-fearing. Tell me what you think about this case out of the UK, this crossbow murder and killing. This has been the Trevor Donald Experience.